Alright, so here we have yet another week where Black Clover graces us with its greatness. Each installment inching us that much further along with this incredible arc. In the last one, we saw the recounting of Noelle and the others' time under the tutelage of the elves and the keeper of their grove, Dryad, an experience that allowed them each to learn what is known as ultimate magic by drawing upon ambient mana. And as such, each of them now boasts such pristine magical control that they may simultaneously harm an adversary while also leaving an ally unharmed within the same blast radius. And this was only an example of true magic, as they would easily wipe out a number of lesser devils. However, a number of middle-ranking devils would emerge in pursuit of the fun as well. A confident lot that would be met by Luck's ultimate magic, an absolutely ridiculous display that would see them all decapitated in one fell swoop. However, the castle was looking worse than ever, as despite this spectacular power of his, Luck himself could sense the presence of beings they would have no chance against, as we would then see the severely injured state of our beloved vice captain, NACHT. This latest chapter, however, would flash us back to a few minutes prior to this previous chapter, as NACHT found himself faced by these two twin high-tier devils. He'd assess the situation and weigh his options and determine the best strategy to be that of separation, as to have these two and Dante in the same chambers would only spell disaster. These two devils now chuckling amongst themselves with glee, relishing in the sheer thought of inflicting further devastation and anguish. They were very much ready to play with their prey, a disturbing sight to behold indeed. Dante, in recognizing the present situation, would then begin to laugh maniacally to himself, very much satisfied by it all, as these are the fruits of his labor ripening before his very eyes. The two would then overlook him with a bit of curiosity, but would quickly resign from such indulgences in fear of stepping on Lucifero's toes. But just then, Jack would arise once more, now terribly bloodied, and remind Dante of their ongoing duel, swearing to rip the fiend to shreds, as Dante, with an absolutely creepy smile, would turn back to him, now intrigued. Now NACHT, again doing as he does by assessing the situation, would note that Jack was likely to have a rough time, but he had no choice but to place his bets on him, as one of his devils would emerge. Here, NACHT would confirm that the little guy had completed his mission before beginning to form together with it. Now, this mission is likely to be one of those trump card plays that will pop up at a later point, so let's try not to forget that detail for the chapters to come. But with this, we would receive yet another transformation from NACHT, and yet another for the series as a whole. Devil Union Mode Gallus. And man, with this arc alone, Black Clover has unveiled so many new transformations that it is unbelievable. I am looking forward to receiving more case studies of each, because I'd love nothing more than to break them all down further, as for the time being we kinda just get them real fast and move on. But even still, this one is pretty cool indeed, and I'd likely rank it to be number 3 visually amongst his many forms for me personally. NACHT would then release a magically laced verbal wave towards the two devils, followed by the shadowy protrusion of several elongated arms that would grip onto and pull them elsewhere. And I believe this was a combined effort of his devilish powers, as opposed to it being the power of this new form, as we've already seen this be utilized with the Hound form. Now, within a cathedral of sorts, the two would be amused by this display with a bit of curiosity as NACHT would continue his moves. He'd swiftly expand the very same mana zone that had so thoroughly gotten the better of Asta during his training, as he would then confirm the commencement of their hellish game of tag. The two were completely blind in this space, and rather than being a cause for concern, it seemed to further elate them, as they'd speak of taking their time with this one and refraining from expressing too much of their true capabilities, as just then they would simultaneously unfurl in unison attacks of fire and ice. And now NACHT, in his feline form, would narrowly evade each whipping wave, doing so just before emerging behind the male twin and delivering a solid blow with his bullish form. But the damage was null, as the devil would turn back delighted to have found its prey. This display to me favoring that of a non-hockey user, impacting the form of a Logia fruit wielder in One Piece. This was certainly a losing situation. Perhaps NACHT did possess the favorable terrain as they couldn't see him, However, with an inability to land any sizable blows or properly defend against their own, he was playing a losing battle. One where, at this point, his one and only remaining option was to stall, to avoid their attacks for as long as possible and divert their attention from the others. These two were ever pleased, like two cats chasing after the light of a laser pointer, but they'd have to wonder why exactly he wasn't running away. Something that awoke a bit of fury from deep within NACHT as he would bellow out that their unjust ways are the very reason he continues to live, as he can never forgive their kind and gives no care to his own life. With this, we would then receive a flashback within a flashback as we'd be taken back to the noble house of Faust and their twin sons. On one hand, you had the younger of the two, who was the epitome of goodness, beloved by many in service of the Magic Knights. The other, however, being a delinquent of sorts that lacked the same appeal, using his magics rather selfishly. The younger of the two questioned why his brother didn't help people by joining the Magic Knights, as the older one would refuse due to a lack of personal fun. Just then, however, a voice would call out to Morgan. It was Yami, and it was time for a mission. And by his attire, it's made clear that this was prior to his time as a captain, and is instead back when he was a member of the Azure Deer, under the current Wizard King Julius as their guild captain. Now, Morgan, who bears the visage of who we currently know to be NACHT, would agree wholeheartedly, as the elder brother would berate Yami's joining of the Magic Knights as well. The two would exchange in a bit of friendly banter before Yami would tell him not to go too far or else he'll have to take him down, referring to him as NACHT. How very interesting this is. Now, this can be interpreted either one of two ways. One, that the ever-friendly younger sibling grew to be cold and ruthless following the loss of his elder brother, or that the elder brother, upon losing his pure-hearted younger twin, began to don his visage while joining the Magic Knights in pursuit of revenge against the devils that claimed the life of his brother. I'm gonna go with the second one here for a couple of reasons. Firstly, NACHT upon meeting Asta for the first time would make it expressly clear that he hates Yami and has only been to the guild building once before, expressing a clear disdain for the establishment of his superior, an animosity that the younger twin did not possess in the slightest, as it actually looked to be quite the contrary. Secondly, when first recognized by Jack, who recalled the younger sibling with Yami while denoting NACHT's magic to be different, NACHT would make it clear that that man was gone. Now, this could of course be figurative, as I'm sure was to be our innate interpretation for the time, but with further context, we're shifted in a different direction entirely. Furthermore, he also denotes his hatred of the Black Bulls, only accepting membership for the allowance of freedoms extended to a Magic Knight vice captain. Third, he possesses the belief that the greatest people are those who are good from the very beginning. And lastly, his feelings towards Asta, as the only time he truly smiled was when the pure heart of Asta was on full display when he formed his devil contract with Libe. And additionally, he did express to Asta that people who are right are not necessarily rewarded, yet he'd like that to be the case, likely referring to the sanctity of his late sibling. Again, NACHT has easily become a favorite character of mine, and so further deposition and exploration into his character and backstory are very much welcomed by me. But yeah, what do you guys think of the chapter, and where do you think the story looks to be going right now? Let us know down below, and while you're at it, I suggest you subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on, because we cover these chapters weekly and would love to have you be a part of our discussions, and hopefully have more reason to make even more Black Clover content than that. You can also follow us over at PlotArmorYT over on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with the latest and greatest anime and manga news, memes, and information. We also have a Patreon page for those of you who would like to go above and beyond the call of duty in support of what we do here, because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Black Clover content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I am Sliceable Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.